came and changed me, all for your glory.
I'm Olivia, and I'm a Forerunner. When I was 11, we moved into a new neighborhood, and the house behind ours was home to an apostolic family. I hung out with their kids all summer, but once the summer was over, they moved out of the neighborhood and we had lost contact. When I was 12, I started dealing with some more difficult things in my life. I was becoming a teenager, so all the things that come with that. And from a very young age, I knew that my parents were addicts, and that led to other things in my life that were questionable for me. As I navigated that year going into being a teenager, I fell into the wrong group of friends and had started experimenting with alcohol and smoking, and I fell into a really deep depression, and I was so uncomfortable with who I was, what I was becoming, what I was doing. I started looking for approval in everything that I did and in many different people, and I was let down every single time. I was having suicidal thoughts and was self-harming, and it was an extremely dark time in my life. But I had a close friend who still lived in that neighborhood, and he was attending that church at the time, and the church that my neighbors had pastored. And there was one night where he invited me to go to youth group with him, and I was just a little bit hesitant because I grew up going to different churches, and I always felt like there was something missing from those services and from those times I would be there. But I wasn't sure what the difference would be with this church. I was just so afraid of being let down one more time, trying to find validation in something and being left again. But I went with my friend that night, and I'm so glad that I did. It was so amazing. The service was so good. And they invited me to come to a retreat they were having that weekend. And I went and I met so many young people, other young people who were living their lives right, and they loved the Lord. And I kept coming back to that church week after week because I felt something there that I didn't feel at home. And it was something that I didn't feel at the other churches. I felt love, I felt Jesus, I felt peace. And the people of that church loved me, and that was exactly what I needed. And the more I started going, the more I started seeking for the Holy Ghost. I was doing Bible studies with my pastor and his wife. And as I started praying more, I asked God to remove those things that were leaving me feeling depressed. And he did it. And he gave me hope and peace and joy. And as I continued attending this church, I was filled with the Holy Ghost in November of 2010, and I was baptized in August of 2011. And since then, I've gone on to accept the call of God in my life. I started attending Indiana Bible College in 2017, and I graduated in 2021 with my bachelor's in biblical studies and a minor in communications and media. I've recently relocated to the Indianapolis area, and I attend Calvary Tabernacle. I serve our young adults team by helping produce the Calvary Tabernacle Young Adults podcast, and as well as serve in other media ministries. I absolutely love this life. I would not trade it for anything. I love the people that go to my church, and it's not always been easy, but it has always been so worth it. So Forerunners, I hope that you were encouraged by this testimony, and I hope that you too continue to push forward into the calling that God has on your life. God's blessings.